I'm looking at nothing. So are we right? Are we up?
I'm looking at we will begin shortly.
All right. I'm going to take it on faith that we are up and running.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This is Live Coding Happy Hour for September 7th, 2018. I'm Dave Slusher. I'm here with my colleagues, Andrew Barnes and Chuck Tomasi. This is a rarity. This is not a rarity. This is like a unique ever in the history of Live Coding Happy Hour that two of the people have been in the same room.
Other than acknowledge.
I guess that is true. So the last week we kind of teased that Andrew Barnes was joining the developer program. He is now in the developer program, and he say something. So will it click you to the thing?
Sure.
All right. I can't tell who's but so Andrew is aboard. We've spent the we're actually to give them a little bit of a shout out. We're at Subproto, the makerspace hackerspace in Myrtle Beach. We've been here all week. And you want to do your do the little pan around now, Andrew?
Absolutely.
What we're talking about it. They've been kind enough to let us
up the space here.
This has got some serious museum pieces in it. I love it.
Here we go. We got. Try not to go too fast.
Check out the Trash 80.
And then just to really prove we're in the same space, we got Dave over there. The robot's in that corner. There's also another sneaky robot right down here.
They are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
All right. So let's go ahead and do the longer introduction, and we'll let we'll go in alphabetical order, starting with Andrew.
All right.
If it was first or last name, he still wins.
I still win. I'm at the top of the list here. Hey, everyone. Glad to see you again this week. I'm Andrew Barnes. I'm a developer advocate at ServiceNow. I've been on the platform for about 4 years now. Yay! Thanks, Chuck. And I'm super excited to be here.
And you've been a developer advocate for
4 days.
All right. And Chuck?
Hi, my name is Chuck Tomasi. I am a senior TPMM at ServiceNow. Been here for about, over 8 years now, coming up on 8.5, and a customer for a couple before that. My specialty is in custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. You can find me on we won't get into the whole, we'll do that at the end.
All right. And I'm Dave Slusher, developer advocate, also on the dev program, developer.servicenow.com. Approaching, like this fall will be 5-year anniversary, been developer advocate, approaching 3. I think like maybe in a week or 2 will be my 3rd anniversary in this role.
That was a fast 5 years. It feels fast in some ways and eternal in others, doesn't it?
Well, that's the nature of these things. It feels like 5 weeks and it feels like 50 years. It doesn't feel like 5. It feels like way less and way more, but not that.
We've done 50 years worth of work in 5 weeks.
It sometimes feels like that. So what we're doing this week is a little bit of archaeology. We'll get to that in a second. A little bit of archaeology. We're going to go back to the YouTube spoke because as Andrew and I are kind of strategizing and in our summit this week, one of the things I talked about is, a lot of stuff has kind of gone undone while this has been a one-man operation for most of 2018. And getting the YouTube spoke finished in shareable form, published to share. At this point, there still are no full spokes up on share. So, even though we still have our goal of being the first spoke published to share, it's still alive unless somebody really unless either we go very slow or somebody comes along in the next week or 2.
Oh, I'm putting one out this weekend. That sounds like a challenge.
There you go. And so we wanted to do that. And we don't even, it's one of these things where it's been long enough since we touched it. I don't even really remember exactly where it is and where things are at. And in fact, we had to call in a little reinforcement right beforehand to get the OAuth working on this. So we had to go back to Josh, who could not stay for the whole thing, but we actually had Josh on here a couple minutes ago trying to walk through the OAuth, and the act of having him talk this through, just the act of navigating through and figuring it out means I think actually this might be a thing. It's a big enablement necessity. We got to spend more time on OAuth because I think the platform needs to spend more time on the OAuth user experience, but I think we need to do that because to this date and years into this, I cannot like given 15 minutes, I couldn't get the OAuth configured. So
and it shouldn't take that long. Like, we should be able to make that better.
In computer science terms, this should be a fixed time operation, and it is not. To this point, like, it's still not configured, so it's going to take a little bit of fiddling, and you guys are going to have to cover me a little bit while I try to do that, since I have a bunch of secrets I don't want on the screen while we're
Sure.
So I will actually start with that while we talk beer. So same order. Andrew, let's talk about your beer.
All right. So today I've got the Wicked Weed Dark Age, and this is going to be a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout.
Oh man, you're hitting the strong stuff.
Yeah, it's been a long week of sitting and getting access to tools and getting onboarded. Is lots of tasks from HR, onboarding, and other systems. Now, thankfully, most of them have been in ServiceNow, but yeah, I needed a little fortification this afternoon. What do you have?
I have a good old-fashioned Dos Equis Amber. Nothing fancy for me today. The stock room is running a little low. It was either this or a Kieran Light, I think.
All right.
That is the situation that got me static from Todd Volpe's boss about my Rolling Rock. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And let me do stretch it out for 1 second while I do the last thing that I don't want on the screen here.
All
yeah,
right.
sure.
And so it's been super exciting coming on board here. And I've had a great deal of time here at this hackerspace in South Carolina. And they've just got a wonderful setup here and all kinds of tools and things. And we've been on laptops the whole time. And I've wanted to go, print out things and work on, putting something together, do some soldering. Like, there's all sorts of bells and whistles here that are just at your fingertips, and we've been sitting and typing on laptops.
And today's the first day I didn't make an attempt at my 3D print downstairs. We got so busy I forgot all about it, and it takes about 4 hours, so there's no point in starting once we miss the window. But there's a lot of I used to work in here fairly regularly, and it certainly can be an attention. It can take a little discipline. There is a MAME console like right over my shoulder that you can tell I've been in here because elevator action is the one that has been selected. Everyone else in here is like 25 years old, and they're not as old as elevator action. So what I'm drinking is this Hopping Frog. I don't even know the name of this. Barrel aged Boris. I also have a whiskey barrel aged beer, and I looked at the label. I don't even know the style of this thing. All I know is that it's whiskey barrel aged. So this is kind of a voyage of discovery on this guy.
Yeah, you'll figure it out as you go.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take a sip before we get to serious, because I may not get another one. Ooh, that's good. All right. That may be a little more horsepower than I need at 340. And Chuck is lunchtime for him. So, okay. So let me go and let's work on getting the sharing. We are also, to add to everything else, we've got, we're working on a new system. Sorry, Microsoft. We're trying to get Skype out of the life here.
And that's looking good.
Okay. The only problem I get is that the Zoom conference, sometimes their controls, if I knew how to move its controls a little bit, so we're going to be a little bit off of the top because I want so that it doesn't cover things up for me. But all right, now what we've been trying to do, and this is, we're going to do a little bit of fumble time. And in the chat, there may very well be somebody who feels better about this than we do.
Can you bump up that font a little larger?
Absolutely.
I'm looking on YouTube.
So let's get, that might be
there you go.
Too many. Is that just right? You're gonna be about 7 seconds behind. So we're trying to get it such that we can get the OAuth token. And we had a little mismatch, and this is one of those situations where the project has been sitting for a little while. Let us wouldn't be a bad time to go back over kind of the live coding setup, which is, we turn on the stream, we share, we work on a project. One of our goals is, this is kind of like the anti slick webinar. It's us just doing our jobs, really. And so one of our few ground rules is we don't work on fake stuff. We only work on real stuff that we're serious about. Now, in this case, this has sat long enough that we're kind of starting back over a little bit. And so there will be fumbling. It's not necessarily slick. And like at this particular time, we may spend the whole time just trying to get back to where we were, which is, again, this is sadly kind of a part of reality of this job, particularly if you got a lot of projects going and you may have to move amongst them. For example, what used to be the primary developer instance on this was Josh's, which has since been reclaimed.
Oops.
So for those of you out there who get bummed out that your instances hibernate and they disappear,
we had that same problem.
You are not alone. All right.
GitHub.
That is, so what this is my developer instance, and this is our GitHub repository, and we kind of reconstituted it from that, but we're kind of trying to get everything back mutually consistent. And so I'm going to go to the get OAuth token. Oh, that is so much better than anything we saw earlier.
Yeah.
We were getting the bad robot
right kind of screen.
What we were getting earlier was like a redirect. It was a 4.0 something error for mismatch between the redirect URL or unauthorized. It was a thing. I think we were getting the 400 level error, not because of the URL we were hitting, but I think because the URL we were supposed to redirect back to was this account did not properly have it authorized as this is one I will redirect to. So this is somewhere in the OAuth magic, all that OAuth handoff that to this day, I don't really have a great mental model, right? You've got your ID and you get your secret. And then you configure all these URLs, like this is the provider URL, this is the redirect URL. And so you behind the scenes to make the flow work, you do a certain amount of magic and plumbing and you put that together. And so for the developer, that's the hard part, to make it easy for the user so that you get the nice little consumer-friendly screen, which just says, I'm going to do this thing. And so getting that plumbing right was where we were failing before. So what we're trying to do, and the problem here, this is not a problem. So we're getting this. I could use another account. Now here's where I'm not, because I'm logged into my developer instance from the profile that has my ServiceNow. I'm not 100% sure if I get a big problem if I click this with this account. We may have to come back here and I may have to use my personal account to do something. So I'm going to click this. We're going to see what happens. ServiceNow wants to be able to manage my YouTube account. I'm going to allow it. Will this?
That was the right question.
So we've got a YouTube token. Will expire in 1 hour.
Hours.
3 hours, yeah. That's good enough. This actually does mean that this is going to be, I think, going to the YouTube account. That's not the one I originally intended, but we can certainly live with that. So, all right. So now what we've done is we kind of got ourselves to ground zero. We should be able to hit some stuff. So let us get over to my studio. And in fact, so here's kind of where we're at. This is our spoke. And we've got a little flow, and this flow is really just exists to test. We've got a few things, which is create live stream. And as this is one that I remember from 6 months ago, is this was also a little bit of a misunderstanding of the YouTube API in that live stream, we thought live stream meant the event, like the broadcast event. In fact, this is the stream key. And the live stream payload is kind of getting the stream key. So if you ever set up a YouTube live stream, you can either create a stream key each time, or you can do a reusable one. And we use a reusable one each time we do this broadcast you're watching right now. And so stream IDs and all this kind of stuff. And so scheduled broadcast. And scheduled broadcast is really the serious one. This is what we ultimately, the goal here, the end goal is to get this show that you're watching right now scheduled from an instance via this. And so let's go back and do a little review of where this particular action lives. And so we do first a little script step where we build the payload, and we put it, wow, we put it so far in the future that it actually is still valid.
Now,
That was
now
nice.
that's some scary future proofing, because we'll think it's good. If we hadn't seen that, it would have worked today, and then the next time we got to it, it wouldn't work. And
We've only got 2 months on that. So, and that's all we're doing really, is we're just using a script step. We're preparing basically this chunk of JSON right here from snippet, blah, blah. And this is all YouTube/Google definition stuff here. And so all we're doing is creating a title, and the title comes from, so let's go back up here. Title and start time, you pass it in. And in fact, we're ignoring the start time. And the whole reason we did that was because of this formatting, if I recall.
Yeah.
We had a really hard time getting this. We didn't have a.
we did try that just a little, and then we gave up and hard coded.
Yeah, this was not the fight we wanted to fight at the time we were doing this. And it is still not the fight we want to fight. So you pass this in from the outside. And actually, let me back up to even the very beginning of the action. Pass it the title, the start time, the step, you pass that, and that's going to go into the payload. Then you do the rest step, where we take somewhere in here, we're going to take the payload we built from before.
Dave, could you make that window just a little bit bigger?
Let's make the window bigger. Yeah, it's clipping a little bit from the CSS. See the edge of it. All right, there's our data pill picker.
Yeah, that's rendering all the important bits now.
So, and this is the part that we were kind of, the connection alias and all that kind of stuff. This should be using the same connection alias that we just set up the OAuth token for. We're going to hit live broadcast. We're going to post. And this is, if you remember, this is like one of the weird parts about this API, is that it has this kind of, I don't know, it feels unusual. It feels a little atypical in that it has this weird mix of query parameters and post parameters. Right? It has an unusually large number of query parameters for something that you're also posting a payload to. Most, and I think what we're doing, if I remember too, what we're passing is part, and we're basically saying these are the parts of the payload that matter. So you're almost using your query string as kind of a checksum on the payload you're passing. It's just an unusual organization, but who am I to say? Then we do the script step where we actually where we look at the input of the previous one, which is just the status code. We I think are just verifying we got a 200. Then we are extracting the ID, which is I think the ID of the. I think our goal was to should be the broadcast ID if I remember. And then the output of the entirety of the step is the result of that. Oh yeah, that is that YouTube kind of permalinky or whatever you call it, their alphanumeric thing. And then we are emitting both the ID, and we're using that to kind of compose the YouTube URL, which is, given that ID is very very structured, right? And you don't even, I think if you don't even do the watch, I think if you do the just youtube.com/that ID, I think maybe even does it. I think there's a simpler
like
shorter
tu.be.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But for right now, we'll
it'll get
now. Let's go back and see, can we run this guy and actually generate all the stuff? And so in our test,
I don't want to take odds against it.
I'm going to go ahead and delete everything. I think we were testing other stuff. I'm just going to get everybody out of here. We're just going to add the one action from our YouTube spoke, and that was schedule broadcast. And we're just going to give it LCHH archaeology test. And I'll put in a start time, as we know this is kind of a no-op and it doesn't matter.
We won't get your spelling.
Hey,
on
wait a
archaeology.
second. Hey guys, look at this.
Look at this new date picker thingy.
A picker.
This is new to me. This must be London.
Date picker. Cool.
And look at that. So it got this drill in. Interesting.
Huh. It looks
so if I go back
familiar from something that Michael Ritchie once wrote.
So you got to walk all the way through it to get to. I wonder if you can. So you have no way of short circuiting it. You got to walk through the things. Okay, interesting. That is the first time I have seen that. All
Yeah,
right,
me
done.
too.
We'll do done. We'll do test.
Now, how's that going to get our broadcast key in order to schedule the thing?
It's not. It should schedule the thing, and it won't associate a key to it at all.
Okay. So we'll have an object, but it won't be like you couldn't start that stream without.
You could not start that stream because it doesn't have like in YouTube. You have to have the thing with the stream includes the parameters such as like, am I sending the RTMP? Am I using a Google Hangout? There's more information about like where the video is coming from that.
404.
404. Where did the 404 happen? Which one of these steps got the 404?
Line 3 of something.
Method failed. Live broadcasts with code 404. Now, oh, look at that. I wonder if that double slash is a problem.
Could be.
Let's check that out. Did we, in our rest step, live broadcast. I'm gonna do this. I'm just going to get rid of that thing. Are we when we compose this thing together, resource path, the connection alias may end in a slash.
That's possible.
This may be a connection alias thing.
Yeah, I've hand done on the browser line with double slashes. It doesn't seem to matter.
Let's try.
Yeah, because a double slash should just get stripped out.
I would expect. Yeah, let's walk simple. This may very well not be it. It might be significantly more. Yeah.
No.
So not that. Now is the question. And if I look and see, do we not have the double slashes from that? No, I still have the double slashes, but no live broadcast. So now is live broadcast not even the thing anymore? That would be.
We were doing this a year ago.
The API does change pretty often.
Yeah,
that is not impossible. And I wonder if there's this email that I didn't read.
They change things up faster than ServiceNow does.
Where is my? This is, by the way, so just for completion's sake, this is the error we were getting before. This is one of they looked kind of like that 400 level error, which honestly I think they're like the only ones I know that use a 400. And do I? Here we are, live broadcasts.
Live broadcasts / bind.
So bind.
I've got insert and bind.
Insert. So I wonder, am I failing to?
No, there's live broadcasts.
All right. So here's the deal: is let's go and look. Let's walk this back to what exactly, because I don't have the host and everything. This may be we may have a mismatch here in the window creep here. I can't even find my flow. There it is. So let's go back here to, so this connection alias, I need to look at the connection alias in the system. Connection and credential alias. And so this guy right here, I believe, is the one that we're looking at. And we've got this YouTube HTTP connection. And look at that. That is probably not even close to what we were just looking at. So
the connection URL.
You look at this.
No, googleapis.com.
So that's what we were.
Josh told you to type that one in, but his memory is about as good as ours.
And I think that wasn't even in here. I think that was somewhere else. That was in the OAuth stuff that we were typing that in. That was actually not even this one, I don't think. Or maybe
pretty sure that was the one.
Okay.
When you said connection URL.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just api.google.com.
Nope. And I think some of those emails that I've been getting and maybe not acting on are about YouTube V2 to V3. So This is relatively benign, but I think there may be other bigger changes.
I would definitely give you a 404 if you weren't even going to the right site.
All right, so now
That
let's
endpoint
try.
does not exist, sir.
I'm gonna go ahead and we'll get rid of the history of these guys. We're gonna go back to this. Let's test it one more time. That is taking. Did that take longer?
Felt shorter.
Criminology. Are we also getting the same thing? The same step?
Script step 3.
Error.
Line 3.
Line 3 is good.
Is line 3 your throw line?
Line 3. In process. Let's see. Line 3 of the script step is the throw.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's so we're always going to be getting that if the previous.
Okay, if it's not a 200.
So yeah, this is not the.
That's not the culprit.
That's not the culprit. That's
it's just reporting.
That's the canary in the coal mine. Telling us something else went wrong.
You weren't 200.
So this guy here, this rest. Now, if we look at it, method failed.
/YouTube v3 live broadcast with 404.
So out of curiosity's sake, let's come over here to the. That's not the thing. Let's find the API builder. In this thing.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
If I do this, so live, the other thing, live broadcasts. Live
it's plural.
broadcasts.
I'm pretty sure you did. You got
live broadcasts.
Yep.
Insert.
Where's your insert?
No, it doesn't. Okay, so that it's called insert, but
okay.
The URL is this. However, we have another possibility here, which is this. You see this right here. This may be, I don't know one way or another yet, but this may be a red herring in that. What if we're not asking for the right scope? And Google's way of saying, GitHub is very much like this. Like if you try to look for a repository on GitHub that you don't have access to, it does not tell you
you
not
don't have
found.
access. It just says
doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So because what they're trying to solve there is people being able to brute force what exists that they don't have access to. Because that is a little bit of a, when you say you don't have access to a thing, to this resource, you have at least told them that resource exists.
Right.
So that's why GitHub just gives a flat 404 for everything, which makes you the API developer. It complicates your life, but it has a use. So in here, the question is, are they just telling me 404 because something in here is wrong, or because I have a scope wrong, or I don't have the permission, or do I actually legitimately have that wrong? So let me see if I can get these on the screen at the same time and get this such that I can fake up what we're trying to do here. I'm going to decrease this a little bit. So if we've got our payload over here, I'm just going to put our payload in that thing. Oh, can I make it expand that payload? I click that. There we are. Or even let's do it that. We're going to put that in there. Oh, no. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to be helpful. Yuck. Do I have a raw text option in here? Looks like not. Ugh. All right, let me back up. Snippet. Schedule time. I guess, okay, I'm good enough. Let's copy that. Yeah. Which I'm one character off. I'll fix that in post. Title. I don't care. And that's all we passed that in there. We want to make our query parameters. We have them in here. Headers. Oh, query. Here's the query parameters. Part is ID snippet content detail status. I should be able
Okay.
to, and that's one big block to that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And part was up on top.
Part is up here.
It was the only required one.
Yeah. I did not get ID. Okay. So with this, I don't need anything else here, I don't think. This should be sufficient. And I'm probably going to
trying anyway.
Yeah. It should be sufficient. Now if we execute, and it's going to OAuth me again because
A little tester is very handy.
So because before it was the instance that was OAuthing, now this is my browser that's OAuthing. We're doing it again.
Okay, there's your scope.
Here's something that I don't remember. This looks like there may be two things in here. We may have had one when I signed in.
I only recall seeing the one red one.
That may very well be the root of this.
And if we're not asking for the right scope when we're doing the OAuth request, we're not going to get it.
That's correct. So you notice that actually we get a 400 because that's an insufficient. And this, I think, is another API change. Is a privacy status is required.
Mm-hmm.
So, and let's put that into, is that under snippet? I got to go back to the privacy status. You must specify status dot privacy status. All right. Good gravy. All right. That's snippet title. Oh, that's the thing. It's not in snippet. I think I vaguely remember this.
There it
Privacy
is.
Status private. All right. If I execute this.
There.
Okay. So that, and then let's go ahead and do. I don't want that. I just want my personal YouTube for this guy.
Because you authenticated with you.
And if I do where's my videos? Where's my channel? My creator studio from my personal account should have an XYZ event down here.
Ta-da!
So that did actually create that. Okay. Now here's the other thing. Now this is
old.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably want to delete that because that's the start time in your demo data.
Yeah, we don't want to not have any false positives. All right. So we know that the thing that did, so we know that everything is possible from this account, from that. And then if I can see,
why don't we go
showing me? So it shows the results. Is this showing me the actual
payload?
Well, the payload is up here. What I want to see is the actual URL string, like host fully qualified URL string, which I don't see in here.
I don't see it.
I'm missing it. This is where like REST API Explorer
is so nice for that purpose.
And in fact, that may be, well, no, we can't do it. We can't do it externally. I wish we could.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did that. I'm going to walk back to
what I was thinking was give the OAuth a try, the request OAuth, and make sure that you got the two scopes. And if not, then we need to go adjust the scopes we're asking for.
Yeah, let's walk back. So while this is fresh in our mind, let's walk back here to this guy. And again, you guys are gonna have to help me navigate. That is not the thing. Is it the connection alias? It is the credential.
The credential.
Go to your history.
It's called Dave. It's
Yep. There it is.
Do I want to, if I do redo get OAuth token, is it gonna?
It should prompt you again.
Should get a new one. So I'm signing in.
Yep.
And
I don't remember asking anything. Yeah, it did the same thing.
It did ask a question.
But if you've already got an
I've already now
extend it.
Yeah, I've already.
Okay, so let's go get rid of it.
Well, yeah, and I have to do that. I think on the Google side, I have to go into my Google account.
You have to like revoke it in order to
revoke that from the Google side.
Yeah.
How does one do that?
I thought you could do that from within ServiceNow. If you do OAuth.
No, I'm actually
Don't
what
you
I'm
have the-
actually
don't you
doing
have the-
is I'm telling Google, which so at this point I've asked Google for the permissions and I've granted my instance to permissions.
Right.
What I want to do is tell my Google account over here that you don't have the
Revoke
permissions
that.
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
This also might involve some stuff I don't want on screen.
Yeah.
And I don't have an external monitor to drag to, so I may turn the sharing off for a minute.
I can just cut it off as well if you'd like.
Tell you what, let me stop the share for a minute. While we'll look at our pretty faces while I try to figure out. This is entirely not a ServiceNow problem. This is an OAuth problem. So this is like so I'm looking at my Google account and account preferences, purchases, subscriptions, reservations, personal info, signing into Google. Oh, apps with account access. That is exact. And sign in and security.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Apps with account access. Flow Designer, YouTube Spoke. I'm going to manage apps. I'm going to revoke that.
Yeah, I don't think it exposes any
remove access. Yeah,
APIs
I'm going to turn
or
this.
secrets or
I'm
anything.
going to turn it back on because I wasn't 100% sure I didn't have something on the screen that was
Go for it.
All right.
So showing you where I'm at here is, so I went over in my Google account in security, sign in security, is apps that are our account. And you'll see like anything that you have connected to OAuth. I actually saw other things, Airbnb and things like that. So Floto, I'm revoking Flow Designer YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you'll see, and this is, this is standard stuff. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna request the OAuth token again. And now I should have to confirm again. This one, it's this one. We're gonna get OAuth token. It will ask the account.
Yep.
Sign in. Now these are the permissions. And notice we got one of the two.
Yeah, that second one is gone. It was just a blue dot, but the text was the same. So I'm not sure I understand what the difference is.
I think let's go back to the docs for a second here because I think. Oh, can I find it?
Wasn't it somewhere in not the part? There was somewhere where we had a comma separated list. Typically, you grant access via a query parameter or something.
So over here,
yeah.
see there, scope right here.
Yeah,
and that was the second dot.
Scopes. I think. Let's check the scopes that we're granting. And again, this is now we're back into fumble territory because this is not my. Let's see if I can find the scopes that we're requesting, which would be in.
That should be related to here. So it should be the OAuth.
Should be the YouTube data. Should be if I navigate to this thing. OAuth entity
scope. There. Okay. Isn't that what you already?
So we want another one of these. But
we want another second
URL. Yeah.
Okay, that one's Google
also,
APIs,
and let us compare.
YouTube.
1 second. Let's compare it to what we are. Google.
That's
APIs.
the first one.
Auth YouTube. That is there, but we are not
doing the Force SSL one.
Force SSL. So let's see if we're able to actually configure this minus Josh. That will be.
That would be a form of victory right there.
May the Force SSL be with you.
So here being the problem. OAuth entity, I have one single OAuth profile. Does this profile have got a related list?
It has a related list, an embedded list.
We can still go there and there
Let's call it Force.
Manage YouTube, Force. Okay.
SSL. Sorry.
You need.
Where are we at?
Okay.
Oh, that's too funny.
That's damn annoying.
OAuth entity.
Calling fields are not under the OAuth entity scope.
And that is literally the one I just filled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the entity scope is that not the relation?
Oh, no. That's a reference to another record.
That's a reference. So you
okay. So I need an OAuth entity scope. Entity scope.
Yeah. I don't think it's in the list.
This is the part that, this is the part where you got to go backwards.
Open that record. Open that record and insert and stay.
Yeah. Do the first one.
The manage YouTube. So open this one, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Not Not
the
the
record.
Just go manage YouTube direct because I don't.
That'll
Alright.
work. There's your OAuth entity scope reference field. Go into that one. Click the eye icon on that one.
Yeah.
There.
That's what
This is what I
we
want to
need
insert.
duplicate,
Open that.
and then we need to rebuild that previous one. But yeah, and
Force SSL is the name.
Yeah.
There's your URL.
that,
Okay.
and now okay
If I walk backwards,
Okay,
where
that was
and so we also need
to add back the other one.
manage YouTube. Oh, don't tell me that
no,
Correct,
you
the
did
first
an
one.
insert and stay.
Yeah, I think it was angry, but
For
I think it was angry.
I'm not crazy. I did do the.
I know.
All right, let's cancel this. Okay, and cancel.
So
Back to this. This may be so. When I did that
choose
one,
the other one here, and then insert.
see, here's the
something.
deal: is I think I screwed up one of these guys.
Oh,
Remember how I did? Remember how I was one off from where I
Mhm.
thought, and I didn't insert and stay.
so
Did I
we
s-
need a new OAuth entity scope.
Yeah.
For,
So click
regular-
through that one. Get the
Click
eye
through this
icon.
one.
We've been here. Okay. Now do your insert and stay.
rename it for.
Oh,
rename
sorry.
it.
Okay.
That's what it didn't like.
Oh, that's what I didn't do. Okay.
You got to make a change.
Okay. Manage YouTube. I got ahead of myself.
All
Insert and
right.
stay. I wonder if it'll error on the URL.
And then just get rid of the
Did it do it?
force SSL. Did it do it? I can't see your status
was
line.
so
to know if it's
fast,
still
so-
working
It
or not.
says.
It wasn't angry.
No, the display
Now
value
it's
hasn't
angry.
changed yet. Now it's
Gotcha.
angry.
All right. And wasn't it? Isn't this the only difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
Now
update
do your
that.
insert and stay.
I should.
Change. No. Oh, no.
Now we're back to where we were. Force is gone because that insert didn't work. It kept saying
Yeah.
invalid.
Oh.
update.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to sysadmin class. Oh wait, now it's what, system fundamentals? Andrew, do you have to take all that training over?
That
You're a new employee. Do you have to like take that to check it
Oh,
off on a list somewhere?
Here's the problem. I'm gonna have to do both of them at once, right?
Yes.
Because- okay, I can't just do the one. So I didn't. And this one, did I leave it? Okay, so it's
No,
not.
it's fine.
That one's fine.
all right.
So force SSL, and let me get that from the Jig.
It's .force -SSL, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
After teaching the class, I don't think anyone's going to make me sit through that again, because they're going to have a tough sell.
Okay.
Did you teach it at Novant?
I taught at NC State even. So
Wow.
I've taught 300
Okay.
folks the intro course.
Now, let's reload this form.
Well, you got to save it. You got to save it. You got to save it.
I gotta
It's an
save it.
Embedded
from-
list.
Where am I?
And then go back.
I'm lost. Am I going back to the profile? I'll go back to the credential.
Just drill into the
The entity profile here.
profile to make sure it looks good.
There you go.
Hey,
You
that
got both
that
URLs.
looks
Okay, that was
that
what.
looks right.
Yeah, the not populating this was what was weird to me. Okay, so now we're going to go back all the way back to the credential.
And get your OAuth token.
Get my OAuth
Hopefully
token.
get prompted for
Prompts
2.
us appropriately, and then we'll probably have to add the privacy requirement, we'll get a different
True.
error than 403.
There are the two.
Yay.
There are the two. Make sure you trust it. Allow it.
Okay. And then
Okay.
it's good for
All
another 3 hours. Another 1
Back to
hour.
Flow Designer. Now,
3 hours.
having done all of that, if we run this again, will we see something different?
Yes.
I like the.
You didn't ask what you'll see. You just said, will we see something different? No, we got a 404 on line 3.
Oh.
But let's look at the snippet. Payload.
Method failed with code
404.
404. YouTube v3 / live broadcasts. I'm going to look and see if this, I don't know that this is going to have any, no sniff, but this looks like nothing in here is
not for
at
us.
all illustrative.
And
So there's our
look reasonable
post.
query parameters.
Means probably it almost has to mean our connection alias is problematic. Right? I mean, that's the parts that we're not seeing under here.
Are we sending the right? Have we chosen in our flow the correct credentials?
Let us double
Did
check
we
up
choose
here.
the Dave credential?
Let us see. How does that get?
It's in the inputs, right? Or
it's not
the top of one of these. It's at the top of one of these.
It would have to be like the REST stepper. Oh, so this is the credential YouTube data API. Is that the guy we were just looking at? YouTube data API. YouTube data
API default.
API, but that's a connection alias. So let's go over here to connection.
Right.
YouTube data API. So this is that.
Okay.
And that is, oh, look at that.
Oh, where'd that come from?
Where did that? By the way, why is WebEx going crazy all of a sudden?
Zoom just went out the window.
Okay. So this, right? Look at Google APIs. This is not the right thing, right? Or is this the right thing?
I thought that was the
Yeah,
one
that's
we
the right
adjusted.
one. That's the right one.
And it is using the Dave credential.
Host is Google APIs. Port.
Oh, it parsed it apart.
Okay. So
that's why it looked funny.
Connection attributes, connection and credential. The credential is Dave.
Well, and it's valid.
And that has these, because we saw that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the OAuth, like the OAuth request is happening and appears to be correct to me. So like the hard part is happening. What's not happening is building the URL. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let's go silly here and let's have a step. Do we have a way of echoing back so we've got the built
details, or do you want to echo back the URL?
I want to echo back the how about if I do this? Let's look at the outbound REST logging on this instance.
Oh, yeah. Forgot all about that.
Yeah, we'll have to
outbound,
turn that on, right?
We have to turn that outbound REST message, and this is outbound REST message, right?
No,
I
that's
may
how
have
you
to
build an outbound REST message.
Where's the ACP log levels?
The outbound REST logging has to be turned on by property, and you can't get there from the modules, I didn't think. Just have to know how to get there.
What? We don't have a properties page for our REST stuff?
Glide outbound HTTP
log override level.
This guy right here, is this what we want?
Wait, check the description on the http.db.log. When true, outbound HTTP calls will be what?
So let's navigate in here.
You can just hover over it. Will be logged in the database table. Also, also meaning something else.
It seems like this is it, right? log override level.
Part of, oh, it's part of the global
This is
scope.
global.
Okay. Yep. Most properties are.
Am I going crazy and thinking this is the right thing? Is it log override or log over? Let's just call this debug.
I'm going to check the docs real quick.
Okay.
Debugging REST queries. Glide.rest.debug property is true. All REST processing is logged to the session debug log.
Oh, I don't want new.
Oh, I don't know if you want to go to the session debug log though, but
okay. So I thought we had outbound. We had a per request logging.
let's find out. I typed in HTTP debug.
Oh, right here, outbound HTTP request. Right, this right here. This.
Yeah. That.
So these are all the 404s that we got. Okay, so this is exactly what we want to look for.
Okay.
Yeah. And this should be.
There's your URL.
Let's go
Compare that.
Let's go low tech. Well, let's go even lower tech.
Can you hit that endpoint?
Can I hit that endpoint with it knowing that it exists? Not
no.
Answered.
Oh, the double slash is whacking it out.
Did I know? Oh my goodness.
That was 25 minutes ago. Dave gets
Oh, it was more than 25 minutes. That was 25
5 points for Gryffindor over there.
First couple minutes.
It doesn't matter if it's the leading slash right after the domain. So if it were googleapis.com// then it doesn't matter. So we've proven that it does matter later in the path. That is not good.
Let's do, hey, out of curiosity.
Where's it coming from though?
Where is that coming from?
It's got to be coming in the building. It's somewhere between Credential Alias and Flow Designer.
Yeah.
It's really kind of
so where do we have a trailing? I didn't see a trailing slash anywhere that was causing us problems.
Because in fact, what I did in
go back to your Credential Aliases.
Credential Alias, there is definitely not.
Right.
I have trailing slash there. Am I correct in remembering that? That's this.
And we took it off.
Oh, there is a trailing slash right there, but we took it off of the one.
We took the leading one.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just keep
insert it.
Let's keep taking them off.
Yeah.
From everywhere we can find one.
Nobody said
a URL that's mashed together, and then we'll start putting things back together.
Yeah, until it becomes a problem not having enough. Let's
you can almost see the code in your head, can't you? Take this plus a slash plus the other thing.
You certainly can. I would have crafted it that way.
All right, that is taking longer.
Hey.
It's been executed.
Oh, still 403.
403.
That's not a 404.
That is not a 404 at all. So method failed.
Yep.
But
forbidden
object wasn't not found.
Is this our privacy thing that we had before?
That was the error that we got from.
Wait, this is 403 is a forbidden. That's like you're not allowed here.
Forbidden username password combo.
But
usage limits.
We
access.
did get an error when we didn't have the privacy flag. I just don't remember what the error was.
Right, it was something about privacy. It was clearly about privacy.
This I think is this is going to be an account setup thing because you see how it's usage limits, access not configured. So this is my Google account
isn't
not having the correct. It's not saying like what the application that I created in the registry that's got the client ID and the client secret that I put into my OAuth 2.0 entry over here. All that stuff I was doing when I didn't want it on the screen. I think that thing in my setup on this account lacks something. That's the 403 here, is I didn't grant the proper privileges from there. So at this point, we're kind of at the bottom of the hour. I think actually, so we kind of walked back through. I actually, surprisingly, this 403 makes me more happy than you can imagine.
We're getting more comfortable with it. This was definitely a good experience builder.
Because this is the farthest, like, if you look at kind of where we started and like the stuff we walked through, this is the most stuff I've ever done OAuth
without a guiding hand of Josh.
Without the guiding hand of Josh. That is absolutely correct. Because in previous eras, we certainly hit brick walls that we kind of gutted through, 20, 30 minutes ago, that I would just throw up my hands and say, I don't get this part. So like we were saying before, that we definitely, there's an opportunity, we'll phrase it in the positive way, and that we've got an opportunity to elucidate this better to people. We have an opportunity in the platform, which of course none of us on this call control, but we do have an opportunity to create enablement material that kind of ties this together and builds the mental model, which clearly I'm way shaky on, but at least I have gutted through the hard way, figuring out what things go to where. And maybe this is this would benefit from some diagrams, right? This thing has a reference to this thing, and you build this here, and the URL is built because part lives here and part lives here, and this is coming from the credential, which goes to the profile, which goes to the entity, which goes to the scope. So showing how those are related would be very helpful.
Yeah, and I think that's would be a great service to the community, and how I taught others how to do single sign-on, because there's almost all the same pieces happen when you're building single sign-on to connect to ServiceNow, to your auth provider at your corporation. Almost all the steps are the same as just doing OAuth for most single sign-on systems. Because
so if you do LDAP, you have a similar level of abstraction, right? That you've got a
LDAP would be the exception, whereas other systems like Okata and Shibboleth and those systems are very much set up just like OAuth is.
Interesting. Okay, so I have I have looked at the chat 0 times since we've been doing this. Is there anything there we need to address, or are people just laughing as we're bumping our heads against the edges of OAuth? If not, this is a thing. Like I said, we got kind of a clock ticking, and we want to get this thing publishable. So we're it is actually a fairly high priority amongst us, is that we want to get this guy up and share fairly soon. So is there anything we want to talk to and address, Andrew? You see that over there?
I don't see anything.
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. All right.
So
well,
I think it's a good time to drop the share and get back to the video.
All right. So this is kind of like this is,
and we really are in the same space, but you cannot tell that from the lighting.
No, it looks like you're in 2 totally different places.
We are in different universes here. He's over there in the purple happiness.
Well, I turned the lights off behind me because they were washing out the camera, but now it's like way the other way. It looks
and I'm over here with the brightness and the shiny.
This may be a disaster, but the elevator action behind me, that's the main console, if you can see it. Nope. So
we lost things. Yeah, we can't see it at all. Okay. But that flashing light was the top of the game.
It's there's something like 1,000 ROMs on this thing. So you can tell that I'm in here because it's Joust, it's Galaga, it's it's somewhere between, say, 1981 and 1985.
All right, we have to play Galaga before I go home today.
All right, sold. Okay.
Well, walking through Ready Player One at this point.
All right, so welcome, Andrew, once again, and
definitely
we're to lots of good stuff, and because of next week, we're probably not having one next week. I think that would be we have some physical moving around the country. I think that precludes it. So we'll probably be around in 2 weeks, I guess, is our probably what we're guessing. So let us go around the horn. Andrew, tell us about your beer.
All right. So this Wicked Weed Dark Ale that we picked up today, I've had Wicked Weed before, and this was, man, I should have looked at the alcohol by volume on this sucker before I grabbed it. I mean, 9. It's an Imperial Stout, so I knew it was going to be up there, but this one's 12.
12?
This is a dude that has 3.5 hours of drive between where we are and the house.
So we've got to play Galaga before I can even go home.
All right, Chuck, how about you?
You better start up that 3D printer. Dos Equis, good solid 3.75 for me. It's a nice afternoon beer. Nothing special,
goodness.
but nothing
I
terrible
didn't put my
either.
rating on it. I just was like focused in on the 12 and didn't
You are
get the number.
You are high.
Oh goodness.
What's your rating?
For Imperial Stout, I mean, 375 for this
All
guy.
right.
375.
This Hoppin' Frog barrel aged Boris Royale. Is it Royal or I think it's Royale, and it says something about Royale with wood later somewhere on here.
Careful.
This has the structural problem that a lot of these like whiskey barrel, like bourbon barrel, any kind of whiskey barrel aged thing is it can get too sweet. And this one I think is too sweet for me. So it's got that claying. It almost tastes like too sugary. It's got like a weird funk to it that
that might be more for my palate then. All right.
You might try this one. So this is I'm gonna give it like a 3.25. It's definitely not terrible.
It struggles, but
I would rather have the whiskey than the whiskey aged beer. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
well, my bourbon barrel over here turned out.
We
pretty
will
good.
swap before we leave, and then we can. There's 2 more data points for Untapped for each of us. All right. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you the people who watch later. And just yet the beginning. The first of Andrews as actually from inside the tent. He's been on a few, but he's been outside the tent. Now he's inside
the tent.
All right. Thank you everybody. See you next week.
Thanks everybody.
Oh, and you know which buttons to shut.
I do.